take you to write that comedy?
Hey, Bags, think it was really necessary to buy an Amana refrigerator?
Yeah, our vegetable drawer was starting.
Take you to write that comedy. It has observations like, if it's Vic Damone on the turntable, why these old toes just can't stop tapping.
That's one out of every 5 columns I do.
If you're having Hydrox cookies and milk, count me in. That's very insightful stuff.
Okay, all it is it's, remember Jimmy Cannon's old Nobody Asked Me But?
Yeah.
Which is just, it's a fascistic column when you write it that way, by the way, because you're pronouncing this as like echoes of the Lord. Hey, this is the way it is. But it's fun. The column takes about an hour, right? I used to write daily in Miami for the Miami Herald, and then 3 times a week. So once a week is stifling in a sense, because a lot of times you get very good news items, and you get them on Wednesday and they break on Friday, and you got to change and stuff like that.
But people are your fascination.
True.
Best interview subjects, your favorites.
Well, I've had a lot of great interviews. You know, I've been doing it so long. Early Muhammad Ali, what a great interview he was. Any of the great comics, Rickles was a great interview. Gleason, I must have 50 hours with Jackie.
You did Gleason in Miami. When you were the king of Miami radio, late 50s, early 60s, you knew Gleason well then.
Very well. I came down on the train when he left New York, the Away We Go train. I'll never forget that. He took a whole train. And instead of making a whistle like a train makes a whistle, this train said, and away we go. As we went down through Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, northern Florida, away we go. People gathering at 3 o'clock in the morning just to watch the train stop for a minute, and Gleason would get out. Say hello to everybody. 1963, 64.
Nobody liked to live high any more than Gleason. They say they spent millions just getting him from New York to Florida.
That's right. They spent, as he often said.
Oh,
Al, not me, them. They spent, not mine, theirs. Jackie could go, the best thing about Jackie, he was the best read, as they say in the business, anyone had ever seen. Whereas when Gleason knew a part, period, he learned it like the Hustler. He shot it, that's it, remember your lines, go, do it, bam, go home. No motivation, no discussions of theory, bam. I'll give a test of it. He's doing The Honeymooners live in Miami Beach, and it was a musical. It was like the beginning of Color. It was like 65.
This is when instead of Audrey Meadows, Sheila McRae came back and played.
And they're on stage and they're doing a musical. And they're on a cruise. Honeymooners are on a cruise. They want a cruise.
Yeah.
Him and Norton, they do a number now. Now he's off stage, and he's off stage for like 45 seconds. This is live, CBS. And he comes off stage and he says, I'm standing there with Mel Torme. He says, Larry, you been to Raimondo's? I says, no. He says, the best fettuccine, the best. I'm talking the best. 20 seconds, Jackie. And I'm saying, call him up and tell him we're coming over. I want the fettuccine made. 10 seconds, Jackie. We'll have the fettuccine. Tell him we'll be 3 guys, and I want it with the rolls, with the 5 seconds. You know, and have him at the pasta on the side. Norton! He didn't take a second from pasta on the side to Norton. He was right on camera. Right there. Norton. He was right into the scene. I was blown over, and he was incredible. Jackie. He was 1 in a million, Jackie. I get excited thinking about it. Just watching him do that. It just blew my mind.
Rickles. There was a time, there was obviously, you love the guy, but there was a time, late 60s, early 70s, when all of us, the full spectrum, young, old, anywhere in between, you heard he was on The Tonight Show. You made it a point to stay up. There are probably some people now who say, yeah, Rickles, he stands for something, I have nostalgic feelings about him, but the parade has passed that kind of approach by.
It might have, but he still cracks me up. He just levels me loose. I just think, Don, you know, certain guys can do that to you, as George Burns did to Benny. George Burns destroyed Jack Benny all his life, and the stories, I didn't know them, but the stories are historic. I knew Burns, but the stories are historic. But Rickles does that to me. He comes into a room, and I'm down.
Do you find any of what he does cruel? Now, for example, if you're in the audience, hey, there's Larry King. Larry, nice boots, nice eyeglasses. You're Larry King. You have a public standing. You can take that kind of kidding. Hey, there's Pat Boone. Pat, have another milkshake, whatever the deal is, okay? But suppose he finds a couple on their vacation from someplace in Timbuktu, and the guy's kind of overweight, and he starts nailing them, and just because at the end he says, hey, I do it all in fun, those people might be genuinely hurt.
They might be. I have never gone over and asked someone. I have seen him 100 times in a room. I've seen the instance you gave. First, he has, by this time, a second knack, I think, of who to do and who not to do.
He's gotten better
He's
then.
too much of a pussycat.
At that.
He's too much. Personally, I think if you told him, you know, that couple, Don, was devastated, it would kill him because he's such a good-hearted person. He's got a major league heart, and that would hurt him. I think you have to appreciate it. Now, yes, Jackie Mason's cruder than Don Rickles. Cruder, in my opinion, to racial groups and stuff. But Rickles is just funny. I mean, it's just funny. I don't see how they could not laugh.
Probably
Every time
more.
I've seen him, the people laugh.
Probably more genuine anger inside Jackie Mason than inside Don
Absolutely.
Rickles.
Jackie's angry, much angry. Don isn't angry.
You relate well to the young group of comics.
I
The
love 'em.
Billy Crystals, the Robert Kleins, the Richard Lewises,
You know what I love?
Albert Brooks. All those guys line up practically to come on the Larry King
Albert
Show.
Brooks called the Steve Dahl radio show a couple weeks ago in Chicago and did my voice. And Dahl thought it was me. And he started to interview him, like on the end. Like he was doing a Larry King interview, which is why radio. Brooks always does that to me. I laugh at people who are funny. I don't know that you can measure it old or new. Don Rickles puts me away. Richard Lewis puts me away. Robin Williams puts me away. I like humor. I emceed a night of Jewish humor in San Francisco, and we had everyone from Henny Youngman to Richard Lewis to Steve Landisberg to Robin Williams, who came on the end as an addendum to the night of Jewish humor. They all put me away. I mean, I fall down. If it's funny, humor is surprise. So Henny Youngman's funny. If the line is funny, it's funny.
Not too many of Henny's lines are going to surprise you at this point.
He gets still surprised. He walked out on that stage and says, "Why do Jewish divorces cost so much?" Because they're worth it.
I laughed. So
That's funny.
Prove something.
That's all.
What? Marilyn Chambers
Yes.
was on your show.
Yes. Never forget that night.
I guess at a time when pornographic movies were first becoming available to, quote, the general public, and after Linda Lovelace did one, Marilyn Chambers did Behind the Green Door. So I guess she was second in line. If there were such a
She was
hall,
also the prettiest.
if there were such a Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame, I guess she was Lou Gehrig to Linda Lovelace's Babe Ruth. So she's on your show.
Bad way of putting it.
She's on your show, and what happens?
She was on my radio show, and she was really pretty. And Marilyn Chambers was the face on the ivory snow box. And when the Green Door came out, they had to recall all those boxes and take it back. Because she was a lovely girl. She had lovely complexion, beautiful blonde hair, terrific body. It was very pretty. And the interview was mainly about X-rated movies, but also about sex. And how
as a point of departure.
As a point-
Let's talk about X-rated movies, but now to get into something different, how about sex? Because those X-rated movies are mostly about plot and
I like
character
their
development.
plot. See, it's the way you look at it. It's all different. You're a different generation from me. To me, I look at plot. You look at sex. You're young people. You don't know. Okay. Chambers, she says to me, Larry, sex is to me like that mic to you. It's a job. It's period. The mic goes on, you go on. The guy says sex, I can have sex. Sex is like putting a dime in that jukebox. It's nothing to me, Larry. It's just that's the way I exist. You turn on the tap water, I can have sex. And so we're going on like this just to prove it with you. The 4 a.m. news, we'll have sex. 6 minutes, we'll fool around as much as we can. You'll come back and tell the audience. You ready? I'll do it right here on the table.
She's saying this on the air.
On the air. So I said, okay. I said, okay, because I'll go with any experiment. You know, you got to go with the
This
moment.
is all in the interest of journalism and curiosity. I understand.
We
It's
broke
a job,
for the 4
right?
o'clock news, and we both ran out to like an office next door. And she put her arms around me, but nothing happened. I just couldn't, because it was too
Did she take her
businesslike.
clothes off?
She did. She was too big. She took her clothes off. She had one thing dangling, a chain like.
Did you take your clothes off?
No.
Except for the boots, of course.
I did not. You gotta, you're more interested in the boots than I am, Bob. I couldn't do it. And I went back on the air and explained to the audience why I could not do it.
Yeah.
I could not do it because, to me, there has to be some sort of romance, macho. I had to know that she liked me. It wasn't enough. I could never go to a prostitute for that reason. I could never have that kind of relationship. And so I told the audience what happened. What she did was the morning disc jockey, Mike Ranieri was his name, he came in at 5:30, and he's going on here, and he looks up, and she sat right next to him, nude, sat right on a console. Good way to begin the morning. Hi!
And what did he do?
Well, I don't remember what he did.
Right.
He had those crazy looks, but it was...
What is it with you and women? Were you successful with girls when you were in high school?
No, not till...
Young
I
guy?
wasn't successful. I always liked girls.
Good sign.
I was severely Scorpio. I was definite heterosexual.
Wait, you believe in that stuff? You believe in astrology?
I'm like Jack Jones, who says, I don't believe in astrology, but I'm a Capricorn, we don't believe in anything. There's an amazing thing about astrology. It's easy to laugh at, except I fit 99% of the things about Scorpio. So,
You could make any of them fit.
well, we'll see. I'd
All
like.
right, so you weren't big with the
but I
girls
wasn't
early,
with the
but you
girls.
made up for it
I
late.
made up for it later. Once I got into this business. This business is a great business for heterosexuals. Might be even good for homosexuals, but for heterosexuals, this is super business. I was a kid on the radio, and suddenly things were happening to me that never happened to me. Like women called me. Major league. You know, when you're a kid from Brooklyn, women never called you.
And you took advantage of a lot of those things, probably partly because it was a normal impulse, but also because it fed whatever insecurity was left over. I mean, there was a certain amount of conquest and status symbol.
I guess. Do you analyze yourself as you're doing things?
I'm analyzing you, Larry.
Okay, well, I never thought
And there's not
of
a charge.
You know, it's when I would take a woman
You're not getting
out,
paid anything, but you're not getting charged anything
When I would
either.
take a woman out, do you think I would say, I'm doing this for my base? No, I never thought that. You may be completely correct, but
But you dated a lot of flashy dames,
There
right?
was a stage, I went through a stage, long stage, where I liked women. I liked nice-looking women, on my perception of nice-looking women, maybe different from yours. But they also had brains. I didn't like bimbos. But I liked women. I liked the opposite sex, still like the opposite sex. I've always had an attraction for the opposite sex. I like women.
A lot of us who are your pals wonder why you reveal so much about your private life, your romantic life. You know, pick up the USA Today. Yes, gang, it's true. Angie and I went to 21 last night. Now, hey, anybody'd be happy to be dating Angie Dickinson. On the other hand, they wouldn't send out a news bulletin.
Well, I'm just sort of, I'm living off a high. Whether it's Angie Dickinson, I think most people would. You know, if they read, I didn't first say it, other people said it first. Once it was true that I know her, she's a friend, and we go out, I would say it's a kick.
Did you feel like the first time you went out with Angie Dickinson, did you feel like picking up a phone, finding everybody from the old neighborhood in Brooklyn going, hey, it ain't Larry King, it's Larry Zyga, and I'm out with Angie Dickinson?
You hit it on the nose, baby, on the nose. Absolute. I wanted to call Herbie Cohen, because we grew up together. Well, there would have been a lot of guys on the list, but Herbie came
call
along
Mappo
first.
and Ben the Warrior.
Ben the Warrior. Do you know where I am? But that fades. You know what happens after a while is when you get to know someone, people think, are you constantly aware of that? You're not constantly aware of that at all anymore. But yeah, look, I've come through heart surgery, a heart attack. I'm making more money than I need. If you're making more money than you need, and your major worry is partly cloudy chance of showers, and you're doing everything you love to do,
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I love to do, and you're fortunate enough to know some terrific people, and you occasionally shout about it, I don't think that's so bad.
We got to stop, but there's more to come. Back with Larry King in a minute. You interviewed that you would love to talk to. And you remember your answer? It was Sir Laurence Olivier.
Correct, same answer today.
I know now why you'd want to be with Olivier, to compare notes on the craft of acting. Won't you watch along with us as we take a look at this memorable moment?
It's your old buddy, Sleepy Sam, Miami Beach Midnight Flyer. Good music for you all night long, like. Hey, creep. I'm going to give you a little hand with the program. Look, I've told you guys once, I've told you twice. And for the third time, I don't take payola from no creep little record outfit.
Why? He's on payola?
I never take payola, I never intend to take payola.
You intend to keep talking without a larynx?
That gun's at my throat.
Yeah. And if you don't start playing ball tonight, sleepy boy, that great big gun's gonna make a big hole in your little throat.
I'll play ball. I'll play ball. I'll play ball, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, in an open microphone, these two creeps in this studio are described as follows for the Miami Beach Police Department.
You know, Larry, very, very interesting method acting. These two creeps. But, you know,
Why on earth did I get killed for playing a record? I mean, why did I do that?
You wouldn't take payola.
I know, but my motivation, why did I scream into the microphones? They had a gun. That's crazy.
Discretion being the better part of valor, even the most courageous man in the world would have let them get down the street and then called the police on the phone.
Correct. That was heroics beyond bizarre.
What I especially like, though, was...
That's 1960.
Yeah, I especially like the immediate grasp you had of the dynamics of the situation. Say, that gun's at my throat.
You know, easy for you to critique. Ever acted? Have you ever acted? It's different
no.
when you have to act. Yeah, it's
No,
different.
I was in an episode of Cheers once. I was on Cheers.
That's right, you were.
Yeah, but
All
I
right,
was
there's an
playing
element to
myself.
that. I was terrible.
It was funny, though. How much money did you get for that?
I remember I was so excited because it was 3 times more than I was making. I think I was making $100 a week, and I got $300 for that. And then I got it replayed once. That was starred Lee Bowman and Rocky Graziano. Rocky Graziano was Lee Bowman's chief aide, and Lee Bowman was a private detective posing as a Miami playboy. But he was secretly a detective for the Hotel Commission, and Sleepy Sam was killed, and the scene after that is Rocky Graziano saying to Lee Bowman, "We gotta solve this. Sleepy Sam was my favorite."
And Rocky did an excellent job delivering those lines, right? You want to talk about a guy who made out better than anybody when Hollywood did his life? Rocky Graziano gets Paul Newman to play him. No, and they wanted somebody to play Vince Lombardi. They got Ernest Borgnine. The guy looked like Vince Lombardi. Hey, we want to do Rocky Graziano. Who are we going to get? Newman's a dead ringer for him.
That's the... Newman was also a blue-eyed Indian in Honda.
Yeah, it was good casting. What do you think of Phil Donahue, Oprah, you know? Phil.
Well, I know them all very well, the 3, the Phil, Oprah, Geraldo syndrome, I guess. Phil, I like them all. Personally, they're 3 terrific people. Geraldo's a wonderful person, and a guy who'll go to the wall for you, Geraldo Rivera. Oprah Winfrey's a delight. When she did her show in Baltimore, I was a guest on that show once, and she had my daughter come on as a surprise. I didn't even know she was going to be there. And Phil is like an old friend. He's been on with me a lot. I like him a great deal. He was the first person to come to the hospital when I was in the hospital. I never forgot that. And he spent the better part of the afternoon. Oh, so personalities.
Who's the best interviewer of the 3?
Oh, they're different types. I'd say Phil is probably the best. Geraldo's the best reporter, involved reporter. Geraldo's the most out of his element. Geraldo's not a guy with a studio audience and guests.
Should Geraldo be embarrassed about some of the things he's done on the air?
I would gather. I think they sit up nights thinking of, you know, well, we haven't done yet goats, people who take goats as homosexual
on vacations and share a suite.
To share a suite with goats. But Donahue said to me in the hospital room, he said to me, you know, you're lucky, man. He says, you can be on at night and do Richard Gebhardt. And nobody's going to call you the next day and say, geez, we only got a 3 share.
Yeah.
But I can't do that. We have to do those kinds of shows. And you'd think they'd run out of subjects. What annoys me about the tone is the running through the audience. That aspect of, you know, that kind of, you're here, the audience is props. And the subject matter. I mean, it's not my kind, but again, they've proven their worth over a long period of time. And there's a lot to be said for longevity, especially in the case of Phil. I mean, Phil's been, you know, when they write the history of these things, they got to put his name in the first sentence.
In the last minute here, what haven't you done yet that you'd like to do?
Well, it's a long take, huh?
Don't give me a list of gals you haven't dated.
No. You ask it professionally, and I don't have an answer for you, which is a very nice thing. I'd like to do a World Series with you. I did a baseball game this year with John Miller.
The Oriole announcer.
And I'd like to do a baseball game. I'd like to do a Major League National Network game. I'd like to do a game on NBC. Tell Weissman I'd like to go do a game. You
know what? I can guarantee you, Mike Weissman, executive producer of NBC Sports, will buy your idea. Sometime in the future, you and I are going to be in the booth. One game. It's not a long-term contract.
That's
One game. When you come back sometime down the road, you're going to tell us about Moppo and Ben the Worrier and your buddies from Brooklyn, right?
You betcha, Robert.
Larry, good to see you. Larry King, back to wrap things up in a minute.